All right, today we're diving into something called Cypher. It's a query language, but it's special. It's not about just looking at data points. It's about understanding the hidden, often invisible connections between them. This is the language that's really powering our super connected modern world. You know that feeling, right? An app suggests a new friend, and you're like, wow, how did it know I know them? Or you get a product recommendation that is just spookily accurate. It feels like some kind of digital magic. Well, spoiler alert, it's not magic. It's the power of understanding relationships, a power that a language like Cypher is specifically built to unlock. Okay, this slide right here tells the whole story. On the left, you've got your traditional SQL. Just look at that thing. It's a total headache of joins and clauses just to ask a simple question. Who are Alice's friends? Now look at the right. That's Cypher. It's beautiful, isn't it? It looks exactly like what you'd sketch on a whiteboard. A person connected to another person. It's visual, it's clean, and it's designed from the ground up to think about connections. So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at why the old way of using tables is running out of steam. Then we'll get our heads into the graph mindset and learn the basics of speaking Cypher. After that, we'll see where it's being used in the real world, stack it up against the competition, and wrap up with why this is all such a big deal. Okay, so let's start with the problem. For decades, pretty much all of our data has been forced into these neat little boxes, right? Rows and columns in a table. But here's the thing. What happens when the most important insights aren't in the boxes themselves, but in the invisible strings connecting them all together? And this is exactly where those traditional databases just hit a wall. When you ask a question that seems simple to a human, like, show me friends of my friends who live nearby, the database just groans. It has to perform those messy, slow, complex joins we just saw. It becomes a total nightmare to write. And forget about finding deep, hidden patterns like sophisticated fraud rings. These systems just weren't built to think in networks. So what if we just stopped doing that? What if we stopped trying to cram these rich, complex relationships into rigid tables? Well, that's the big shift to thinking in graphs. Graph databases are built to treat relationships as the most important thing in the dataset. And Cypher, that's the language we use to talk to them. So what is Cypher exactly? The key word here is declarative. That just means you describe what you're looking for, not the tedious step-by-step instructions on how to find it. It's like telling your GPS, I want to go to the coffee shop, instead of turn left in 200 feet, then go straight for half a mile. It's designed for property graphs, which is just a fancy way of saying that everything, the dots and the lines connecting them, can hold useful information. This right here, this is probably the single best way to understand its importance. For pretty much half a century, if you worked with data in tables, you spoke SQL. It was the standard. Cypher is aiming to be that exact same thing, but for this new world of connected graph data. It's the standard language for a totally new way of seeing information. But what makes people really fall in love with Cypher is its syntax. People call it ASCII-art for a really good reason. You are literally drawing the patterns you're looking for just by typing. And that's the secret sauce that makes it so incredibly approachable. So let's actually learn some Cypher, and I promise this is going to be easy. It really all boils down to just two super simple building blocks. Once you get these two, everything else just kind of clicks into place. First up, the node. This is your thing. It could be a person, a company, a movie, whatever. And in Cypher, you just represent it with a pair of parentheses. That's it. Simple. And second, the relationship. This is the line, the connection, the verb that links your things together. It has a direction, an arrow, and you use square brackets to say what kind of relationship it is. See? It's already looking like a little drawing. And now you just put them together. A node, a relationship, another node. Just like that. You've created a tiny picture of a relationship using nothing but text. And this is the magic trick. You don't have to mentally translate a bunch of weird syntax. The code reads just like a sentence. A knows B. It's built for humans to read, which is why developers absolutely love it. So how does this work for something a little more interesting, like finding a friend of a friend? Well, it's just like playing connect the dots. You start at your U node, you take one hop across a friend connection to your friend, and then you just do it again. You take another friend hop from them, and boom, you land on a friend of a friend. We're just chaining these little drawings together to ask really powerful questions. Now, I know this looks really simple, but don't let that fool you. These very same patterns are the engine running under the hood of some of the most advanced applications you use every day.
Let's look at a couple of huge examples. Let's talk about fraud detection. This is a massive one. A real fraud ring isn't just one bad transaction. It's a whole hidden network. With Cypher, investigators can literally ask the database, show me any money that's moving in a circle, or find me all the accounts that look separate but are secretly sharing the same device. Trying to find that pattern in a giant spreadsheet? Forget about it.
And, of course, recommendation engines, that people you may know feature, that's just a Cypher query in the background, searching for that exact friend of a friend pattern we just drew. Product recommendations work the same way. It's just finding the pattern, people who bought this also bought that. And what's really amazing is that Cypher is so fast it can do these complex searches in real time. Okay, so Cypher is obviously pretty powerful, but you're probably wondering, is it the only game in town? And that's a great question. So let's zoom out for a second and see where it fits into the bigger world of graph languages. So here's the quick breakdown. We know Cypher is declarative. You describe the what. And its readability is, 5 stars, no question. Then you've got Gremlin. It's imperative, which means you have to give it those turn-by-turn directions. It's super flexible, but way harder to read and write. And then there's Sparkle, which is more of a specialized tool for something called the semantic web. For most of the graph problems that people are trying to solve today, Cypher just hits that perfect sweet spot between power and ease of use. So let's bring it all home. We've talked about what Cypher is and how it works, but what's the so what? Why should you actually care about any of this? Here's the most important takeaway. Cypher is making graph technology accessible to everybody. Before, you kind of needed to be a specialist with a PhD to really dig into graph data. But because Cypher is so intuitive and visual, it lowers that barrier way down. It empowers way more people, developers, data scientists, business analysts, to start finding value in the connections within their data. And this is not some small niche tool. It might have started out with the Neo4j database, but now, because of the Open Cypher project, it's been adopted by huge tech companies like SAP. We're talking more than 10 major database and data platforms that now speak Cypher, which is cementing its place as a real industry standard. So I want to leave you with this final thought. As our world gets more and more connected, the biggest breakthroughs, the most valuable insights, aren't hiding in the data points anymore. They're hiding in the relationships between them. A language like Cypher gives us a powerful new magnifying glass to finally see those connections clearly. So the only question left is, what crucial connections have you been missing?